Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling completely drained, second-guessing your own reality, or feeling like you were backed into a corner? If you're dealing with someone who is narcissistic or manipulative, that emotional exhaustion isn't always accidental. It's a tactic. Today, we're moving beyond just identifying the behavior. We're talking about the how-to of protection. I'm going to show you practical strategies for setting boundaries that can help reduce emotional drain and protect you from psychological manipulation. By the end of this video, you'll have a specific if-then toolkit to stop the emotional drain and finally get your peace of mind back. To set a boundary, you first have to understand what's being attacked. Some psychologists describe narcissistic manipulation using the concept of projective identification, where another person may induce feelings they struggle to acknowledge in themselves. Think of it this way. They are taking the bad feelings they can't handle and pushing them onto you. Regardless of the mechanism, many people report leaving such interactions feeling confused, ashamed, or emotionally exhausted. When they push your emotional buttons, they aren't just looking for a reaction, they're looking for supply. Many experts use the term narcissistic supply to describe the attention, emotional reactions, or sense of control that reinforces these behavior patterns. Every time you over-explain, defend yourself, or get drawn into an emotional argument, you may unintentionally reinforce the interaction and give the other person more control over your emotional state. I know this sounds heavy, but stick with me, because once you see why they want your reaction, the tools I'm about to show you will feel like a superpower. Here are 2 fundamental tools for your toolkit. First, the gray rock method. Become as uninteresting as a gray rock. Short, non-committal answers like, okay, I see, or that's an interesting perspective. You aren't being rude. You are being boring. Gray rock isn't about being cold or disrespectful. It's about avoiding unnecessary emotional engagement when someone repeatedly uses your reactions against you. However, if you're dealing with threats, violence, or fear for your safety, your priority should be staying safe and seeking appropriate support rather than trying to manage the interaction. Second, don't JADE. This stands for justify, argue, defend, or explain. The moment you start JADing, you've given them a handle to pull you back into the argument. A boundary is a statement, not a negotiation. Instead of saying, I can't come because I'm tired and I have work, just say, I won't be able to make it this time. Examples of JADE are J, don't justify. For example, them, why aren't you coming to dinner? You, I'm exhausted, I have work tomorrow, I've had a stressful week, and I really need to rest. Here, you gave them multiple points to argue with. Set the boundary as, I won't be able to make it this time. A, don't argue. For example, them, you're always so selfish. You, no, I'm not. Last week I helped you move and I always support everyone. Now you're debating their accusation. Set the boundary as, I'm not going to argue about that, or I'm ending this conversation if the insults continue. D, don't defend it, for example, them. You never care about this family. You, that's not true. I call everyone, I visit when I can, and I do everything I can. Here, you're trying to prove your worth. Set the boundary as, I'm comfortable with my decision, or I don't need to defend my choice. E, don't explain, for example, them. Why did you say no? You, because I already have plans and then I need to finish some work and afterwards I'm helping someone. The longer you gave the explanation, the more opportunities there are for pushback. Set the boundary as, no, that doesn't work for me, or I've already made my decision. A common mistake is thinking a boundary is something you tell them to stop doing. It is actually what you will do if a line is crossed. It sounds like this. If you continue to raise your voice, I am going to hang up or leave the room. Crucial tip. You must be prepared to follow through immediately. If you stay after they raise their voice, you've just taught them that your boundaries are optional. For example, them, you're so selfish. You. If the insults continue, I'm ending this conversation. Them. There you go again. Everything has to be your way. You. I'm leaving now. We can talk when we're both calm. Additionally, don't fall into some of the most common boundary mistakes. These include explaining yourself too much, expecting immediate respect, feeling guilty for saying no, setting boundaries without enforcing them, or confusing boundaries with punishment. Be prepared. When you first set these boundaries, the behavior will likely get worse before it gets better. Some people may initially increase the same behaviors to see whether the old patterns still work. This temporary escalation is sometimes described as an extinction burst. Stay consistent. This is where consistency matters most. Every time you follow through, you reinforce your boundary and protect your well-being. Setting boundaries with someone who is narcissistic, manipulative, or controlling isn't about changing them. It's about protecting yourself. It's hard work, but your mental health is worth the effort. Remember, healthy boundaries aren't walls that shut people out. They're gates that let you decide who gets access to your peace. Every time you keep a boundary, you're teaching yourself that your well-being matters. That said, these strategies are intended for educational purposes and may not be appropriate in every situation. If you're experiencing ongoing emotional abuse or feel unsafe, consider seeking support from a qualified mental health professional or local support services. If you found these techniques helpful, let us know in the comments which one you're going to try first. And remember, you aren't alone in this. Share with others so they can benefit from the boundary tools. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe.